like to call to order the regular meeting of the Algonac Board of Education, Monday, September 24th, 2018 at 7 p.m. We could rise for the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. And a roll call, please.
Heidi Campbell.
Here.
Charles Bussitel.
Here.
Heather O'Neill Roberts.
Here.
Phil Clark.
Here.
Andrew Boulay.
Here.
Ray Pribiloff.
Here.
Sharon Stiltner here. Mr. President, what are the quorum?
Thank you. Recognitions and presentations, Mr. Latos? Nothing?
Nothing tonight, no?
Nothing tonight, thank you. Consent agenda?
I'll make a motion, the Board of Education approves all consent agenda items, excuse me, including agenda, minutes, personnel items, treasurer's report, and bills as listed items A through C.
Support.
It's been moved and supported. Is there any discussion?
As you could see on there, quite a bit of movement, and that all reflects what happened there toward the end of August with some teachers finding positions elsewhere and us with doing some last minute hires there. But currently we are fully staffed, up and running. We have a couple long-term substitutes in right now with a couple teachers out on medical leave, but everything's filled and at full strength, so.
Anybody else? Hearing none, all those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes. Information items. I know Mr. Melrose is out at the
Mr.
Power
Melrose
Puff
has
game.
got Powder Puff this evening, so he is, he'll save his information for you till next month there. Miss Lestage?
Hi. Well, Algonquin's off to a pretty good start. We're finally getting into our second year of NWEA and DRA2 testing. It's going very smoothly, and we're getting it done a lot quicker than in past years. So that's been going well. We've also been able to enjoy BMX bike assembly that PTO brought to us. It was K6, and the message was find a goal, work toward it, persevere, and you can do anything. But they did do a lot of really awesome bike tricks, and the music was very loud, so the kids loved it. It was a nice, energizing assembly. And PTO is also bringing us Jonathan Rand, the author of Michigan Chillers. He'll be there on October 1st. He'll run 2 assemblies because he's only appropriate, I guess, for 1st grade through 6th grade, not kindergarten. So we're going to do that on October 1st. Kids are bringing in book orders because he's going to bring them a signed copy, and they'll just get an opportunity to hear him speak. Tonight, right before this, we had a 5th grade parent meeting for camp. All of our spots are filled. Every child who wants to go is able to go, and we're just getting ready for that. They'll be going at the end of October this year. And also, we're in the beginning stages of getting 6th grade band up and running. At the end of last school year, we sent out an informational sheet on how we were going to have to do it a little bit differently since Miss Turner's at the high school full-time now. So she has volunteered to come over after her high school day ends to run a 6th grade band for us. Last week, we had a meeting for parents to kind of let them know how it runs and what to expect. And as soon as she's done with marching band, she'll be over at Algonquin trying to drum up some more interest for that.
Good. Mrs. Hanners?
We'll say it's off to a good start. Honestly, in the first 3 months, they're just kind of figuring out why they're here in school and kindergarten. That's what we've been chasing around. So they are starting to get it. Lunchtime's running much smoother, so you guys are welcome to stop by anytime. The staff, both Algonquin and Millside, the PTO, has offered to pay for the CPR renewal training. They did it 2 years ago. It's now time to do it again. So we have lots of staff members signing up for that. That'll be October 4th on a Thursday night. We also, they got in touch with us with our department to start next month, and they'll be out on October 4th and 5th with the smoke trailer to K3, we're starting to dig deeper, like Brooke said, with the DRA2 assessment as well. We have our first professional development half day on Friday in the district, which at all 3 levels is a data day of some sort where we're looking at our current information that we have and planning. And this is just a demo of our public site. Hey, Evan, how do I focus this in so it's not cut off? I didn't notice that until the lights turned off. You have to find your what? Oh.
Yes, can you read that? That's why I said we need to have the stuff sent to us. So we can, usually it is.
So,
Yeah.
when I look at this is, we don't have it on our actual site yet. It'll be one of the tabs. So this is the landing page that most parents will come to. It just kind of breaks down what the system is. And then down here, it'll actually start to tell. There you go. Hey. What it is. So it'll tell the parents how to browse, and I'll show you what some of it looks like. At the top corner up there is the Algonac A, and next to it is the browse button. So when we go to set this public, somebody will just click on browse curriculum maps. And it'll take you to this page here, and you can filter by a lot of different things. So if you wanted to, I'll just pick on lower elementary. Say we wanted to look at English language arts. So we have reading and writing in there. And so if a parent was curious what their child's doing, it'll take them to a page. Now, this will actually show them all like of unit 1. And it'll kind of detail it out for them. You know, what's the focus? And it'll do that all the way through for us.
It's a good tool to have.
And then if they can click on, it'll bring up the actual sequencing map. So it should have an actual map in here as well that sequences it for us. So it's like a one-page map that it will show you. See if it does it in reading for me. So, and it'll do it as well at the junior high, or the junior senior high. You can click on grade 9. There we go. So when you go all the way down, you can start clicking on. So here's grade 10. Again, it'll bring everything to it. There's also, for some reason, I don't know if it's just the internet that we have on, but the first thing that it'll land on is, which I was trying to show you, is the year progression. And it's just a one page that shows December, like September, October, Unit 1, and it gives just the name of Unit 1. Then you go October, November, and it's just Unit 2. And you can click on Unit 2, and it'll only show you Unit 2 instead of so much. So we're working the kinks out of it. They just sent this to me last week, so we're going through and trying to find the bugs. But those will be the 2 things that the public will see. It'll be the one-page overview of this is what the year breaks down by month. Like Unit 1 would be these 6 weeks. Unit 2 would be these 4 weeks after that. And then when you click on it, it tells you all of the content expectations and what to expect. So if you're struggling, let's say in math, it should bring all that up for you. So if I go back into browse, here's a map. So again, you see like here's Unit 1 preparing for algebra. It's week 1, and this unit is actually 3 weeks long. But like I said, there's actually a bar graph that it shows that on. That's much easier to read than that. hopefully the bugs get worked out of it. We'll put that on our homepage and send that out to the public so they know. Any questions?
Have we ever had a tool like that before?
We have not.
We had a literal map that used to sit in the back of the boardroom downtown that was kind of our scope and sequence, much simpler than what you're probably looking at here. But this is, yeah, and it's excellent to have because when parents come in and they want to know what's my kid going to learn in second grade or what are they going to learn, and even more specific, what are they going to learn in reading, you can send them right to this, and it really is a good tool to guide them through there, and it even shows at what point of the year. So if they come in November, they come in a couple
See what they learned before.
Right.
So in case there's holes, and
Right.
say, oh, my last school, they weren't to this yet, so I know I have to help
Right.
make that up. It helps us too. The only thing is, and I think this is part of where some of the glitches are coming in, the IB curriculum, IB is very, very tight on who gets to see their curriculum. And so that cannot be made public view. So unless we put a password
password
on it.
protected, yeah.
But then it wouldn't be open to all the public if you have to password the
Right.
curriculum.
Right.
So that's part of the, we were trying to figure out, okay, could we get away with just putting, and then we thought, no. We were trying to-
So, but if somebody wanted to see it, if somebody wanted to see what the IB curriculum was, they could come in and you could show it to them, or?
That I don't know. We can find. I'm sure there's a way to sit down with incoming IB students and say, this is the scope and sequence of
Yep.
this programming.
Right.
Because you think they'd be able to want to decide beforehand if they want to do this.
Yeah.
So all the information that we could give them
Yep.
would be
Right.
beneficial for them.
But IB is the one that tight locks it. They don't want it out in all public forums.
So other schools can't see it, or what are they protecting?
Schools can, like, if we were to put something on here and password protect it, so only IB students could see it, you could do that. But you couldn't freely give out the password to a public. So it's not like I could have on that landing page, password is algonac,
No,
and everybody could get to
I
it.
just meant, what's so sensitive about the
Yeah.
IB content?
Why is
that
there
we
reason?
I
can't-
think
Yeah.
because we pay for that, it's part of their contract.
Proprietary, yeah.
Yep. This will end up on the once we get the, like Melissa said, once we get the kinks worked out, this will end up on the district links part of our webpage. Yeah, and so you could go on there and click through and it'll come right up to that. So.
So we're still working out the bugs, but I know we've been working on this for a while. There's a lot of information in there, and I kind of wanted to show you where it was.
Is this a tool provided by the curriculum that we've opted into, or is this something we've developed?
Both.
Both, okay.
Yeah, so some of it, like the Mesa pieces that we've used is a free Michigan curriculum that teachers have been working on collaboratively. So that's put in here, and then we can use it and freely share it. But for some of our other resources, we've been inputting everything in there to make it something that our parents can see. So it's a bit
Quite a
of
process.
Yeah.
it's for both.
Good.
It
Thanks.
also allows the teachers to go in and change it as their classes tend to maneuver and change it a little bit. That's all I have.
Very good, thank you. Yep. Susan texted me a little bit ago. She has a migraine, will not be in tonight. So she apologized for her absence and said she will bring you up to speed next month as well.
Thank you. Board reports?
I have one, just a note we received that we got a thank you from Mr. and Mrs. Priviloff regarding our donation to the EEF fund.
Good.
And their father-in-law's,
I would like to thank the board, administration, staff, for all their prayers and thoughts. It was expected, but when it happens, it still hurts. So thank you very much.
I'd like to thank one of our bus drivers that left at the end of summer. Maxine Zambrowski served the district for 23 years. She has left to finish her retirement at Anchor Bay. So,
Next.
thanks, Max.
Yep, next. Good job.
Anyone else? Superintendent's report.
Yep, just a couple items tonight for you. The safety grant that's sponsored by the Michigan Department of Ed and Michigan State Police was submitted on time, a day or two early actually, and now it's just a waiting game. They award them in October, so we'll know if we get any or all, or I did request the maximum amount based on the budget we have. We kind of have a budget, obviously, that's spread out over a few years, you know, with the use of the sinking fund and some of the projects that we have. So I figured when you started to add it up, the max that you could ask for was $250,000, and I figured we'll ask for that, and if we get any portion of it, great.
There you go.
In talking this week up at the superintendent's conference, there were several people that I talked to that just said, based on the criteria, they could not pull it together in order to submit. So I'm hoping that works in our favor as well. Less people with their hands in the pie, maybe better off we are. So keep our fingers crossed, we'll know in November. So hopefully we get some of that money there, yeah. M-STEP scores finally have returned, and they kind of mentioned that we're also in the process of doing our first round of NWEA testing. I'm going to have the administrators give a little bit of a rundown of where we're up, where we're down, and what direction we're going in, and just to let you know how those fall. It's been an interesting look at some of the data, some real nice gains in some areas that were kind of stagnant, and trying to figure out how we get the boost up. But again, we're looking at obviously at achievement growth, and a lot of good out there, but we still obviously have some work to do, and we'll continue to push forward with that. They'll present that to you, give you a little bit more in October. Like I mentioned, I did attend the state superintendent's conference last week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Great stuff. I was overwhelmed, being the first time I've went there. I was overwhelmed by the amount of people that are in there. It was amazing. I think it's every superintendent and then some that's at the conference. But had some really good sessions there. Interim state superintendent spoke for a little bit of time up there as well. Had quite a few things. Big issues right now. School security is a big one. A lot of information on that we received. And then the other one is it's a little bit of a waiting game to see who gets elected in November, because obviously that'll have a great impact on where we're going in terms of the state finances and things of that sort. So great conference, good learning opportunity for me. So. And then the very last thing tonight, by the time we're here next month, I plan on, in a community update, I will talk a little bit about, we're getting to a point where we're starting to narrow, even though we haven't got all the money sent in yet for the sinking fund for this year. We're at a point where we are starting to do some planning, and obviously we know the roof is going to be a big chunk of our first year, but I do, for sake of transparency, I do want to have a link on the website that says sinking fund, where people, anytime they ask the question, where's all that money going, they can click right on there. We'll have it organized as to where it says, this is the project, this is the cost, this is the bid, here's the company that's doing it, and have it right spelled out so people can account for all the dollars being spent. And I just think it's a real good one-click kind of thing, and that's how we'd like to keep it. So when people do have those questions, we could direct them right to it. Cool. And then if they have any further questions, obviously they could always contact me. So, but yeah, that's about
How about the
it.
bidding process? Has that been completed, or where are we at?
For the we should have something to bring to you in October for the next board meeting. We should have something out there for you.
Thank you. Visitors and their requests.
We have a couple. First one, Debbie Burgoy from Cotterville Township.
My name is Debbie Burgoyes. I'm running for state senator in the 25th district. That is Huron, St. Clair, Sanilac counties. And in Macomb County, it is Armada, Memphis, New Baltimore, and Richmond. Little about myself. I own my own small business for many years. I went back to school, took the train from Port Huron to East Lansing, and received my bachelor degree from Michigan State. And then I went on to get my master's from Eastern Michigan University. While I worked on my master's, and currently I'm a substitute teacher for East China schools, I did sub here about a half dozen times in the Algonac School District as well. And during that time on my master's, I also was the chair of the St. Clair County Library Village, because I love the library, and I think the library is a really important resource for any community. And while I did the Village campaign, I did a deep demographic study on St. Clair County and discovered that St. Clair County has a significantly low percent of the population that even has some college. And so I decided that I would run for St. Clair County Board of Trustees, St. Clair County Community College trustee, and I currently serve on the Board of Trustees. My term is up in December, so I'm not abandoning ship or anything like that. And I felt that as senator, I could do a lot more for all of Michigan's education instead of just the community college. I'm deeply concerned about where we're going with our education. We used to be at the top, and now we're circling the bottom. I think that's directly attributable to people like our current state senator, who is a DeVos funding recipient, is the chair of the education committee, and he is not qualified to be a substitute teacher, which kind of blows my mind. My opponent has two distinct DeVos linked endorsements on his website right this minute. They proudly talk about their interest in charter schools, which we all know takes money away from the public schools and frequently goes directly to for-profit schools. So I'm very interested in stopping that agenda for sure. I also, on my website, have a place where I talk about how to talk to people, because I think that we all need to start talking about political things again, and we're all afraid to do so. And so I have a 3-step outline of how you can simply and safely start those conversations. My website is db4mi.com, db the number 4mi.com. And on Facebook, it's the same. The outline of how to talk to people is the same, and it's also db4mi on Facebook. I'm interested in ideas that work for everyday people and not just special interests. So my name is Debbie Verbois, and I'm running for state senate. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next is Joshua Rivard from Clay Township.
Yes. Hello. Some of you may recognize me, some of you may not. Very well. I am actually a Muskrat. I graduated from Algonac High School in 2010, and I'm proud to say that I went through the entire Algonac community school system, and I loved it. I loved it so much that when I saw a lot of the same things Debbie was, I'm going to echo a lot of the same things Debbie was saying about when I saw kind of the cutting of funding for our schools, I decided it's time to step up and try to help out in more ways than one. And I think running for state representative is a good way to do that. And for those of you that know my mom, you know that she's a teacher as well. So when I speak to teachers, when I speak about education, I speak from the heart, because I see how it affects us every single day and how it affects you guys especially. Even too as the board, the budget constraints you all have to deal with. And thank God our sinking fund just passed, because it was kind of ridiculous seeing that video on YouTube of the hole in the ceiling and the water pouring through. And as a Muskrat for life, I wanted to make sure that Algonac going forward has the money it needs to repair things, that it has the educational tools to help our students become the best, because you guys made me, and I think you guys did a pretty damn good job. So I want to make sure that our schools become kind of community centers as well. Become a place where the community doesn't feel as if they're always being nickel and dimed and out of their taxes, but as a place they can go to continue education, a place for recreation. Mr. Fussatell, I know, has done an amazing job too with the Muskrat Classic many years. I don't know if you recognize me, but I used to run track across the street. Good seeing you again, by the way. I also want to make sure, just like Debbie, that public money stays for our public schools. and that we make sure that the school funding for K-12 through the school fund stays for K-12 and isn't consistently robbed by the community colleges. I want to make sure that there is affordable education in the state, but I want to make sure the budget books stay clean. So I just want to come up, mention some of the things, and make sure you guys knew my name. I'm Joshua Rivard, running for state representative in the 81st. If you need to find me, just down in Stone. So, thank you so much for your time.
Thanks,
Thank
Josh.
you.
Thank you. Anyone else? That's it. Action items, education support personnel contract.
Make a motion that the Board of Education approve the agreement between the district and the Educational Support Personnel Union as presented.
Support.
It's been moved and supported. Any discussion?
I just wanted to make sure everybody understood that there was no, it wasn't contested, debated. It was just simply timing issues of getting that group back, and then by the time they were able to sit down and meet together and actually take action on what we had discussed, which is basically what we've talked about all the way. Their furlough days have been reset back to where they were, and just a real minor language change that I sent along to you, but that was really all that was in there. Nothing that was holding it up other than the fact that we didn't have another board meeting until September 24th instead of at the end of August. So.
Very good. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes. Motion to adjourn.
Support.
Been moved and supported. Any discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? That passes. Have a good night.